7, and welcome back to another Creative Sim here on the channel. We are back with some more of my D&D characters being turned into Sims. This is the second video. If you missed the first one, there's a link down in the description below to the playlist so that you can go back and watch the first one and get it from the beginning. I sort of go in more details about this whole series, but basically we're taking D&D characters that I have came up with. I have even drawn them. You probably should be seeing a drawing of this character, my drawing of her, what I was sort of using to create the sim, versus also, you know, some things in my head and stuff like that, because it is a creation of my noggin. So yeah, but you should be seeing the drawing for a little bit now so that you can sort of get an idea of what I was going for in a way, with using some of my own interpretation, because, you know, obviously Sims is, you're not going to get it exactly to a drawing or something like that. So anyway, or at least normally you can't. Especially with limitations and clothing and things like that. But anyway. So this is Eva Laray. Before I go too far into her backstory, I will let you know these next 9 characters have a similar theme. I meant for them to sort of be like a group that is like a huge group, but they're not always necessarily together. So if I ever played them, obviously it was just like they would reference their friends, or if I ever tried to DM a campaign and they were in that campaign, then people might encounter all of the characters together, or they may only encounter a few of them together, because sometimes they separate ways every once in a while. But they do have a theme that is sort of already been on my channel before, and that is actually Eevee and the evolutions. I sort of just had to. One, I was getting used to, at this point, other than Nita, I hadn't made any characters, and I hadn't dove into D&D, so I was trying to get a feel and used to creating characters and knowing some of the D&D stuff. Obviously, I'm still learning, but doing these 9 based off of, like, something in particular, and technically the one after them is based off of something else, but we'll get to that when that time comes. But it sort of helped me to have, like, a basis of something like, okay, Eevee. What do I imagine Eevee as a human? And so on and so forth, or whatever I was making them into. If they were going to be a particular species in D&D, what would I would imagine them being? Like a humanoid species, anyway. So that's sort of, it helped me sort of gateway my way into character creation for D&D. Eventually it gets to a point where, yeah, I may have used certain things as inspiration, but for the most part they are completely just out of my noggin scratch form. But these next 9 are based on the Eevee evolutions. This is Eevee. Obviously I was not very creative with the name in this case because of Eva. But one of the challenges I found myself finding with these 9 that are coming up is trying not to make them look like the Sims. Like, I kept that constantly in my head. Don't make them look anything like the Sims that I based off of the evolutions. I think in some cases some of them look slightly like it, in other cases some of them do not. One in particular, Flareon, I know I'm good to go on Flareon. I know that they don't look like, but I don't think Eva looks like my Eevee sim. Like, yeah, there are some similarities, but especially when I was taking screenshots of her, which I did literally right before this video, I was like, yeah, she definitely doesn't really look like Eevee. I could put Eevee sim and Eva together and, like, they might be related. Like, I might be like, oh, they're probably cousins, but I would definitely not think that they're the same person or, like, identical twins or anything like that. But yeah, so I was glad. Like, this was, like, a thing that I was worried about when I went to decide to go create these ones. Like, all my D&D characters, and I knew that 9 of them were based off something that I actually had made Sims of before. So, yeah, I was a little concerned. But with my D&D characters, the thing about it is, yes, I use the evolutions as inspiration, but at the same time, I probably didn't try to... Well, I mean, I didn't. I don't know why I said probably. I didn't try to, like, strongly influence them. It's more of like a loose inspiration, like using, like, thinking of power-wise and then some of the color touches here and there. But otherwise, like, I didn't use them as strongly as I used the evolutions to create the Sims. So creating Sims off these D&D characters, you know, it wasn't, they didn't end up looking too close. I don't think I have any of them that really look super close to the original, I don't think. So, well, like the Sims versions of the evolutions. Off the top of my head, none of them look alike. Yeah, I'd have to say, like, thinking back, Eva and eventually the one that is for Umbreon's inspiration, those two are probably the closest to the sim versions of my evolutions. So, you know, hey, only two of them really, and they're not really that close, like I could put them together and tell them apart. So, yay! That was at least something I accomplished when creating this. Now, Eva here, she is a human, so yeah, she is a normal human girl. She came from a small village, like my story, she came from a small village, and this village comprised of people that had had bad experiences when it came to magic and things like that, so people had came here and settled in this new village, so since this village creation, magic was sort of frowned upon, like, obviously, there's a little here and there, because it's really hard to escape full magic in, like, D&D, but for the most part, like, very simple magic, and it's usually attached to items. It's not the actual people, like, doing magic, or practicing magic, or even reading about magic. So, magic would be very frowned upon, and the few magical items that are there are, like, really subtly, like, looked after, and if deemed horrible or too magical, they would be gotten rid of. So you get what I'm saying, like, they don't like magic, they really do not like magic, but Eva's mom basically was, like, secretly studying magic because her family was multiple generations at this point in this village, and she was a little bit different, and she wanted to more of see outside and sort of know magic, and she started teaching that to Eva, and as soon as it was basically found out that they were, like, really into magic, they were sort of pushed out of the village, and eventually her mom did become sick and pass away, but she keeps her mom's memory alive. She is an artificer, so she doesn't necessarily do, like, magic like that, but she tries to make magical potions and have, like, more magical weapon-based things like that, so that's the sort of magic she's in. Her subclass is Alchemist. She is obviously a female. She is 5 foot, and she is the age of 27. And basically her main goal is to sort of explore and expand her skills and get better at being an artificer and making potions, and also helping those that she travels with the best that she can. So in terms of her sim self, I gave her the aspiration of Master Maker. I figured, you know, that one fits pretty close to alchemy and artificer stuff. And the main traits that I gave her for now, because like I had mentioned in the previous one, I am going to be adding a mod that hopefully allows me to have 5 traits. If it's still working by the time I get to the point where I actually put them into the house that I'm also having a speed build of on the channel, which will also be down in the description below. So if you want to see the creation of that house that I'm going to be sticking all these sims into and seeing what happens, but yeah, I eventually want to give them 5 traits. The main ones that she has for now, just in case I can't get that mod to work, is Good, Cheerful, and Maker, and then I will also be giving her the Ambitious and Recycle Disciple trait if that mod works. I am super looking forward to seeing all these characters come together and how they sort of work together and act together, but this is, you should be seeing Eva's words. You should be seeing Eva's screenshots here. I hope y'all like how she turned out. I ever since making her, I wanted to go with, obviously considering like she's a human, and stuff like that, but I wanted to give her like a, obviously not so magical, but I wanted to give her like a steampunk vibe. So this outfit is a little bit different than the one that I drew her with, but I thought it was pretty close, and I also just thought it had that more steampunky feel with almost having a bit touch of that like dressiness in a way, like combining the two, trying to be steampunk and elegant, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Eva is a very fun-loving, optimistic sim, and I will say if anyone in this household hates her, they are obviously a bad person, because she should be the most liked person in this whole household, because she is a very good-hearted person. But anyway, I hope you like how Eva turned out, and let me know down in the comments what you thought about her, and so far, do you like Nita better or Eva? There's only 2 to compare to, so meh. But let me know down in the comments below. Hope you're looking forward to future characters, seeing them, hearing their stories, and eventually seeing them in a whole household together. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below about everything. I hope you're liking the speed build also, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Make sure you hit that lovely like button and subscribe and all that lovely YouTube goodiness. I keep forgetting that. Bad YouTube me. Bad. Anyway, bye-bye!